Welcome everyone to EncycloPod. I'm your host, Sean DeRager. I am the managing editor of EncycloPocalypse Publications. Very excited about today's show. Mark Allen Miller, the founder and brains behind this whole outfit, gets to join us. I'm very excited to bring him in. And then we are going to be talking to the great Richard Elfman about his new book, The Schlimazel of Sebreim. He'll let me know if I said that right or not. But first, let's bring Mark in here. Mark, I brought all three of you guys in. Hey, well, we're doing it. Let's go, everybody.
We're potty.
Mark, welcome. Richard, welcome. See, no matter how many times I do this, I still screw up all the specifics of the whole thing. I don't have like some producer to do this for me. I need to hire a producer, Mark.
Well, I don't know how you're doing any of this, so I think you need a break.
So, Richard, thank you so
much. Ah!
Yes,
that's what we needed.
That's absolutely what we needed. I love how all these things connect, right? So, Joshua Milliken came in to write his debut novel. I knew he was he had these wonderful dinners with you that he had let me know about. He mentioned to you, he helped connect us. Mark, we all went out and had a little meeting over at Richard's, and it was wonderful. And in fact, I think the last 15 minutes of Josh and I's conversation, we just talked about Richard's cooking.
well, I mean, why would you talk about anything else once you've sampled Richard's cooking?
Well, I call myself a refined Neanderthal. I grill anything that walks, swims, grows, or flies, and I cook for my cast and crews.
Yeah, you and you ran a food magazine as well. Is that right?
No. It was Culture and Entertainment.
Culture and Entertainment.
Oh yeah.
But you are a chef of some renown.
Well, I over the years, I've been a food and wine writer, among other things.
That's what I'm thinking of. Yes, the food and wine writer. But
that was Buzzine, which was print, then online with the Bollywood sister site. But it was Culture and Entertainment. You know that I produced 250 red carpet and celebrity rock star interviews. Name an A-lister, I got them 2, 3, 4 times.
That's amazing. That I did not know. And every conversation with you is a wealth of brand new facts. Just when you think that's it, it just keeps going.
I've been around a while.
And you've done so many amazing things. You've lived 17 fascinating lifetimes.
That portrait in my basement gets older and older.
And thank God, because the movies get better and better.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Richard, I wanted to ask you this, and then we can go into more about your background and all the varied things you've done. I mean, like Mark said, it is incredible. You are a man of many talents, and
this is why we brought Richard Elfman on.
What I want to know is, off the bat, is what compelled you to add author to all the feathers, all the golden feathers already in your cap? What made you want to pursue writing pursuing a novel?
Well, I've been writing as a columnist, going back forever, and writing screenplays forever. And with Schlimazel, I started it as a screenplay, and I said, "What the fuck? Can I say fuck on the show?"
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Let's do it as a novel, and we can get into their heads more and use a narrator. And so I went from film to novel, and then I've got 2 other scripts that you guys have, Dream Girl and Trio, that were scripts that we're novelizing right now. But it's the same 3-act story structure.
Yeah.
It's when people ask me, like, how do you write screenplays? Start reading classic novels.
Mm-hmm. Very much so.
Yeah.
And watching classic films.
Says the son of an English teacher.
That's right, to Blossom. I think we should dedicate this episode to Blossom.
Blossom Claire Elfman, English teacher, and went on to publish 16 novels, 2 Emmys post age 50. How do you like that?
Yeah. I'm that's my trajectory. That's the one I'm aiming.
Yeah, and then with Buzzine, she was my literary and theater editor And God, she did all kinds of interviews. Salman Rushdie, great people.
Amazing. Yeah, she was an amazing lady. The Elfman lineage, you know, is vast. The dynasty grows. Your niece Molly is an amazing director and producer now, right?
Yeah, yes, so talented.
Yeah, there's the talent is in the very veins that courses through all Elfmans.
Well, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Absolutely. Am I pronouncing that right? Elfmans.
It's the plural. Elfman.
I was going to say, there it is. There it is. Has to happen.
Okay, so Schlimazel comes out what, November 25th. You can pre-order it now.
It actually might be the 22nd, I believe.
Oh, even sooner.
Yeah, so this is everyone's watching this on Monday, so it's out tomorrow, everybody.
Yeah, this is kind of Fiddler on the Roof meets Fearless Vampire Killers.
yeah.
Which is it. If I had a dime for every time someone pitched me that idea, let me tell you, I have to know what was the inspiration. Like, where did the idea for that story even come from?
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm trying to think. It's
what was the entry point?
Well, probably when I was born in Watts, and the only other Caucasian family on the block were these hillbillies, and their little kids, Dale and Danny, would beat me up for killing Christ, and I didn't even know who Christ was when I was like 3.5 or 4. No, that's not the basis of it. It's but we do have Schlimazel is a poor young man in this little village in the Ukraine, and he's like set upon by the peasants and everyone, and he couldn't be more oppressed. And then when he falls in love with the pretty innkeeper's young daughter, Ludmilla, things really get complicated. Beaten within an inch of his life, thrown into the snow to die, and the black coach pulls up with this beautiful lady who not just bites him on the neck, but takes out her breasts, makes a little cut, and suckles him like a little yarmulke child.
And that's
so he becomes a vampire. Oh. Yeah, and he gets Ludmilla, goes for revenge, but he wants to change back into a human. Okay, so we've got a little bit of a story there, and it's fun.
Yeah,
fun. I was laughing the whole time I wrote it. I mean, I was drunk also, but I was still laughing.
Well, that's what I love about this book is it definitely from the get-go feels like a Richard Elfman production. I mean, it is your DNA is in there throughout, your sense of humor, leaning towards the bizarre. It feels it's right in line with any of the films you've done. It's absolutely unlike any vampire story I've ever read. And what I love about the humor is it's there, it's wacky, but there's also like it's a real vampire tale. And
it's very much a vampire story.
Yeah. And it's not trying to be a spoof or anything like that. It's it absolutely is. It's just a lot of fun to read. I mean, Mark, you helped read through it for when we were in the editing process. I've read through it a couple times, formatting it, and just always a blast.
Yeah, it never gets.
I'm so glad other people
10 times at this point, and it never gets old.
Not to mention the love triangle between Schlimazel, Ludmilla, and the Countess.
It's very complicated. Yeah. No spoilers, please.
Who were you before you were the Countess? The Count. Yeah. We hit every angle, folks.
No, it's fantastic. It delivers on comedy. It delivers on gore. It delivers on exploitation, but also built using a classical framework. It's such a fun book, and I'm very excited for other people to read it. We're finally going to share.
I had too much fun with it.
So is that a process you would recommend for your fans? Grabbing a bottle of, vino or something and just hammering away?
Or stronger.
Why wine? Why are we going so low? It's a great point. My bad.
No, not for you kids, of course. Not for you kids. Wait,
Right.
I didn't start smoking cigars till I was 13.
I waited.
Did start drinking till I was 15 when it was an all black league, and I was a state track champion, which helped. And my first track meet, I was given a case of Johnny Walker Black.
Oh yeah, there you
by
go.
my homies, a brand I'm still partial to, and I use when I'm writing as a tool.
Does that assist in when you're running? Does that help?
Well, after I'm running.
So you celebrate.
It depends what you're running to or running from.
That's a good point.
And there were many of both, and there still are.
Even at this age, that's good to know that there's always something to wake up and be afraid of.
Yeah. I tell you what it is. Boring, off-the-shelf mediocrity.
That
unoriginal art.
Absolutely.
I'm not afraid of AI. AI is never going to replace artists doing original creative stuff. The stuff that it might replace should be replaced anyway because it's off the rack. I don't mean off the shelf, like off the rack. We want originality.
Yeah. And this is exactly what we've delivered for everyone that's ever watched Fiddler on the Roof and thought it's good, but where are all the vampires?
Yeah,
we're finally there.
It is. So here's the cover for our people watching the YouTube. It should be straightforward. It should be not mirrored. I don't know. If it is, I apologize. But I did want to talk about your brilliant artist. Speaking of AI can never replace artists. I mean, this cover. This cover, when I saw it, my jaw hit the floor. Is gorgeous, and I'm gonna butcher Yannick's name.
And as with any Richard Elfman, contemporary Richard Elfman production, it stars BLOODY Elfman, as you can see on the cover.
Well, he was. But, I was thinking of him as a Schlimazel.
It's just what I think of when I think
of Schlimazel in Yiddish is a guy that shit always happens to.
Yeah, it's a guy that's always set upon, right? Born under a bad sign.
There's a Schlimazel and a Schlimazel. Like Schlimazel, which is Schlimazel's brother, falls off the roof and lands on Schlimazel. So that's kind of the relationship between Schlimazel and Schlimazel.
I'm going to mute. My cat is being...
Oh, you're fine. So I wanted to ask you, Richard, about working with Yannick Bouchard. Bouchard, did I pronounce his last name correctly?
Yannick Bouchard.
Bouchard. There you go.
French Canadian, does all my covers, does all my film art.
Yeah,
guys.
And that was like a non-negotiable when we were first talking about the book and the cover. It was like it had to be Yannick, and I see why, because his attention to detail, and like I've been following his Instagram, and the stuff that he's working on is just absolutely incredible. Because I mean, you just want to grab the painting. My hands are in.
Well, I'm running his campaign. Don't panic. Call Yannick.
There you go. When did you meet?
Yannick is brilliant. When did you meet? He lives in a little town in eastern Canada. I've never met him, but I think he's done like 6 films and covers for me now.
Yeah.
Wow.
When did you meet Bloody Bridget, right? Him? Like, yeah.
Pardon me?
He did Bloody Bridget.
Yeah. He's done the new Forbidden Zone. He's done Aliens, Clowns, and Geeks. There were some older films of mine that he did the covers of that I had nothing to do with, and that's how I found him. Like Modern Vampires, he did the cover.
Really?
I said, boy, who did the cover? Well, this Eastern Canadian guy, Yannick Bouchard. and hook me up, man. But anyway, the cover's important. But what's in between the covers, maybe even a little more important.
Absolutely.
Or under the covers, but we won't go there.
Right.
You may.
Or maybe we will. Honey.
This podcast has known to get saucy. Nothing's off the table.
Nothing at all. So I want to talk about the Forbidden Zone novelization a little bit in a second. I talked, Josh was on before, a couple weeks back, and we talked about that, but I want to get your perspective. But before we go there, I want to just kind of delve back. When did you realize that you wanted to be a storyteller? With all the things that you've done, it seems like storytelling, filmmaking, writing is always a constant. When did you first realize that this is something that I'm going to do the rest of my life?
Well, I started off, it was music since I was 15. I've been an Afro-Latin percussionist. God, and then I was in San Francisco, and I was taking this thing called the Nocturnal Dream Show, and there was a group called the Cockettes, spelled Cockettes, largely a drag troupe. But they reprised old musicals, and I was exposed to Max Fleischer and Duke Ellington and Cab Calloway and all these things. And then a month or two later, I was directing them and performing in a dress. I'm not beautiful. There was no attempt at beauty. But I had an Eric Satie piece, and I'd be in a rocking chair, and I'd get up and disembowel the piano player. It was a very poignant act. And then, I was invited into a French theater company, and then wanted my own group, and then created Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo, which became Oingo Boingo.
Mm-hmm. That was going to be one of my questions. If you could explain to the layman what the difference is between the Mystic Knights of Oingo Boingo versus Oingo Boingo proper.
Well, the Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo, I would call it a Commedia dell'arte troupe with 12 members, where we did comedy and bizarre plays and dance with music. And then it started it was impractical to tour. And then kind of just life was bending it into an 8-piece rock group. So I wanted to capture on film what I was doing on stage. And that's really what Forbidden Zone was my Mystic Knights of the Oingo Boingo stage show.
Oh. So that's sort of your hard night.
Pardon me?
That's sort of the Oingo Boingo version of A Hard Day's Night.
Yes.
That's fantastic. That I did not know. But between both troupes, the Commedia dell'arte and the band, we know a lot of names that have continued to show up in your work, like Matthew Bright.
Yeah, he. By the way, living in Chiapas, Mexico. Got a kid in the Amazon in Brazil that he goes to visit. A very typical life.
Right.
I'll see him maybe once a year.
We can all relate.
He's a hard man to get a hold of. We want to publish a book by him.
Yeah,
and
he wrote a balls to the wall,
so good,
international, drug cartel horror thriller called Trego Me 45.
Well, that maybe, ping me and I'll bug the guy. He went to high school with Danny, my brother.
Really?
So I've known him a while. God, what a fascinating guy, Matthew Bright.
Yeah, it seems like it. No, and you guys have worked together several times, right?
More than several times. As a matter of fact, in the new film, there's this. I've got these two little people, Daniel Dershowitz and Daniel Dershowitz Jr., were attorneys. And they're the attorney for Bridget O'Brien in her trial with the devil. So it's the devil and Daniel Dershowitz. And at one point, she has this mute friend, Pepe. He's down there in hell, and he has to work on a laptop that makes like a voice come out. So there was one thing where he goes like, "Please, Mr. Devil, it's not for me, I'm pleading. If you help Bridget and her friends, I'll give you what you're needing." which is a line from Forbidden Zone, but I had Matthew Bright do it in his voice. So it's kind of like a little Easter egg for Forbidden Zone fans that I have in Bloody Bridget.
That's fantastic. Wow, that's really fun.
Yeah.
Keep your eyes peeled for that, folks. And when will people be able to see Bloody Bridget? By the way, we keep mentioning it.
Well, here's the thing. It's so hard to make an independent film, let alone a different one. It's like endless meetings. They fall through. There's lenders. The lenders are upset. You've got to get a lender to pay the lender to pay the lender. So Anastasia and I just said, fuck it. We upped the mortgage, upped the credit card limits, and shot the damn thing. So it's a total guerrilla operation. It's turned out great. We've been in 12 festivals so far. We've won 4. We've got another dozen coming up. So right now we're just doing festivals, and Anastasia and I create live pre-shows at most of the festivals. She performs burlesque, enlists local talent. I put a band together with local musicians. We bring the fucking house down, then play the film. So it's not in normal distribution yet until the festival thing is played out.
Yeah.
You know, probably next spring or something, you know, we'll do a commercial release.
But people can, is there a website where people can check the festival schedule?
We're on social media a lot promoting.
Okay.
Like Facebook and Instagram. But God,
so follow Richard and Anastasia on social media, and you can see where.
Dahlia
Demond.
But we've got almost back-to-back performances in Portland, New York, San Francisco, Las Vegas. Plus our band, Mambo Diabolico, will be playing in Los Angeles December 3rd.
And is Ego in Mondo Diabolico?
Pardon me?
Is Ego in Mondo Diabolico?
Yeah, he's the band leader and composes most of the music. Ego Plum, that's right. He does my movie scores with my brother Danny Elfman.
That's amazing. So, you know, when he's not doing the new Mickey Mouse, when he's not working, you know, for mega conglomerates like Disney, he goes over and makes, you know, better movies.
That's what I've been doing. It's I'm developing animated shows, both for kids and adults right now. And Ego and Danny have started doing the music for the first 2 shows, but more about that one later.
Breaking news. Fantastic. You heard it here first, folks. That's really fun. I'm very
for the viewers, we have Bloody Bridget, the website right down there in the corner. You can see it, but I'll have all the links to all that in the show notes.
Yeah, Bloody Bridget it's fun, it's sexy, it's bloody, and above all, it's entertaining.
And it's hilarious.
It's hilarious.
And it's a passion project, you know. It's like you said, it's independent, it's different, and it's completely made outside, you know, the establishment. This is you telling the story you want to tell the way you want to tell it.
Yeah, great. So I've got like no one to contend with. You know, do this, do that, take a shitty deal. You know, cut out this part. The only thing we cut out are the hearts of victims who deserve it. Bridget is a Valentine vampire.
That is fantastic.
Fucking blood only whets her appetite. She has to eat their beating hearts.
I mean,
of course. I mean, why not?
You mentioned
we were going to bring that up. We were going to do a little bit of that at Dark Delicacy, but they didn't want us to get blood all over the floor. So if you're in Los Angeles, November 25th, Dark Delicacies, Burbank, we're going to have a book signing with Josh Milliken doing the Forbidden Zone novelization, Schlimazel of Sebreim, and we're going to bring some band members and do a little music first. Maybe I'll even read something from the book.
It'll be a celebration.
If the violin player shows up. Yeah, that die. Yeah, that die. Ah!
Cameo appearance by Tarafta Hajduk.
Yeah. By the way, I've got a local group for our audio book that sound just like Tarafta Hajduk.
Really?
There we go.
Yeah, we're going to give it up. Danny's helping me with a little musical soundtrack for our audio book.
Yes, there will be an audiobook, folks.
Yeah, and we've got some interesting names who are going to be voices that I can't disclose yet. but you're going to be quite pleased with some of the names we're going to have as voices.
It's going to be really, really fun. And so I wanted to dive. I found a segue. You had mentioned working on family entertainment, but this would not be your first foray into family entertainment. Is that correct?
Well, I did a ABC comedy horror series, Bone Chillers.
Yes, that's what I'm talking about.
That was fun. It just went for a season. It actually did well. It was killed by network politics, which is something else. But I did that with Adam Rivkin. That was a fun series. Howard Wexler, who's my DP today, last 2 films, was the DP on Bone Chillers.
So you find people you like to work with, and then you bring them with you everywhere you go.
That's right.
That's fantastic.
That's kind of how we work, Mark.
Yeah, tenacity and loyalty, 2 things you rarely find in this town, you know. So it's one of the reasons. It's 2 of the reasons we love you so much.
Well, the love is mutual, gentlemen.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. Richard, you're the best. But Bone Chillers was so much fun. I would kill for a Bone Chiller story. Can we get a Bone Chiller story on the air? Is that?
Yeah, I've got a good one. So it's ABC TV, and sometimes they'd spring like personalities and celebrities at the last minute. So I've got Vincent Schiavelli. He was in Ghost. God, he was he's this very unusual face, but he was also an Italian chef and food connoisseur with a food book from his native Sicily. So I didn't know till the night before that I've got him, and I've got to dump 12 gallons of chocolate on him, then walk him across the lot for the blue screen shots. So I've got to spring that on him. Okay, so Stanislavski had his methods. Richard Elfman has his methods. So we're there on the set, and I'm going, okay, Vincent, I'm going to have to put 12 gallons of chocolate on you, and you're going to be in it for about an hour before you get to shower. I know you've got this cookbook, and here's the village that your family comes from. I snap my fingers, and my son comes out. This is the cheese and saucisson from your village. If you could just tell me how this tastes. And he's kind of a little curious. Boy, that's probably making you thirsty. You were born in 48. Can someone get me a 1948 Barolo? Snap my fingers. Now he's got a big smile. This thing cost me I think half my salary that week. Okay, so now he's getting in a better mood. Okay, so here's the Richard Elfman method of directing. I want to know how the wine tastes before and after the chocolate hits you. So now he's had a glass, and he offers one to me, and I look to the ABC execs, and I go, of course not. I don't allow alcohol on the set. So that's a Bone Chiller story.
That's fantastic. This is better than I hoped for. Wow. Yeah. I mean, that's a great way to keep your cast happy.
Well, I cook for my cast and crew at the end of every week. And then when we wrap, we don't just cook for them, we put on a show.
And you've been doing that as far back as Bone Chillers?
Bone Chillers, I cooked for them, but I didn't put on the show. But I would have my barbecue grills at the end of every week.
Wow. That's so fun. And how do you know Adam?
God, we had the same manager at one point. And he was the one that created Bone Chillers. Very talented guy.
Yeah, fascinating. He's one of those, Forrest Gump types. That's he's like everywhere. Whatever significant, movement happened, he was always there. He was always there somewhere.
Yeah, Adam.
Henry Rollins tells this hilarious Adam Rifkin story. It's like so I had to know what the Venn diagram was there.
But it was a fun. But anyway, it was a fun little adventure.
And then from there, you shot things in Vegas. That was after Bone Stores, yes.
And Mahatma McCain Sumatra shot the other, apparently.
Right. That's what This was my understanding.
It was one of them is my version, and then there was another one that it got hack attacked. So
really?
I use various pseudonyms. Yeah.
Interesting. Sumatra, of course, being from Shrunken Heads.
Lieutenant Colonel Aristide Lafitte Pierre Lemaitre of the Tonton Macoute, retired.
That's right.
That was a Matthew Bright script. Shrunken Heads.
There we go. Let's see the crossover continues. Yeah. And I'm sure everybody watching this is a Shrunken Heads fan. I would bet the house. I would bet the farm on it, as they say.
Not exactly the film I wanted to make,
right? But
it's still a fun little film. It's still a fun little film.
It's really fun. It's again, very, very cliche plot line, of course. Story you've heard 1,000 times about a bunch of kids that get murdered and turned into sentient shrunken heads that can fly.
Oh yeah, very typical. Yeah, that trope again.
That whole story again.
That old trope.
Well, it only gets complicated because Tommy is still in love with Sally. Sally, oh my God, Tommy, what happened? Sally, will you embrace me? But how, Tommy? How? And his little head snuggles between the bosoms.
I was going to say, they do consummate their relationship, do they not?
It was a very poignant moment.
Absolutely.
Sally, let me be close to you.
Like, one of the most erotic scenes in cinema history. Often discussed. I know you had your frustrations with that film, but it is widely loved. I can tell you, as a lover of Shrunken Heads, I have met a lot of fellow Shrunken Head apologists, and it's really. It definitely, it has its fan base.
Well, believe it or not, we were all prepped. It's kind of like going back to like the 50s or something, some East Coast working class neighborhood where 3 generations live within 3 blocks, very East Coast, whatever. So at the last minute, they sent me to Romania to shoot it, which didn't work out, of course. But boy, did I hear great gypsy music.
That's what's important. You got the local flavor. Did you have any wine?
We ended a bit. We ended back on the New York streets of the Paramount backlot where we started, but that's another adventure altogether.
New York by way of Romania, of course.
Yeah.
And you had to replace Sumatra. Is that right?
Pardon me?
You had to replace the actor playing Sumatra?
God, we had Screaming Jay Hawkins. I was going to use his theme, bump, 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 bump. Like I got a spell on you. But he was a good guy, but a little problem, like memorizing the lines and stuff. And the producers replaced him. Told me after the fact.
Oh, really? That I didn't know.
The replacement was fine. God, what's his name from James Bond?
He's great.
Yeah. He was good. He was good. So it worked out. It worked out.
That's fascinating. My daughter loves Screaming Jay Hawkins.
Yeah. I met with him in Paris, brought him over, but they fired him on day 3 and kind of broke my heart.
That's a shame. So the beginning of one of many frustrations.
Yeah, although Bloody Bridget, we didn't have those kind of frustrations.
Exactly, because you did it yourself. You maxed out the credit cards and you did it yourself.
Damn straight, yeah.
Next time I max out the credit card,
buy those books.
Look,
buy those books, kids. Buy those books for the dozen. Buy 100 books. I'll autograph them. I'll autograph every one of them.
Christmas is around the corner. They're great stocking stuffers.
Absolutely. Let's chat a little bit.
One of our shows was just in Texas, and I had too much to drink during the Q&A, and I said I'd autograph anything, and was given 4 asses to sign, not to my wife's delight.
But to the delight of your listeners.
Yeah. I'm not going to do with that again.
I mean, you had to sign them. It would have been rude not to, right?
Yeah.
Sean,
that's a decision I probably won't have to make in my line of work right now, but I'm sure we'll see what happens. So we are like you mentioned, we are going to be doing the signing on the 25th at Dark Dell, and you'll have your book there as Schlimazel of Sebreim.
With Joshua, with the novelization.
With Joshua for Forbidden Zone.
Which I will sign as well. And
yes,
Anastasia will be there with a few of the band members doing a little bit of music, and I might read a little from the book.
So I wanted to ask you about the Forbidden Zone novelization, because when Josh pitched it to me, I was like, how are you going to novelize this? Because it's in my brain, I was just like, I just don't know. It's such a visual film, it's such a just a bizarre fever dream of a film, but he managed to crack the code and figure it out. I wanted to ask you about your thoughts about seeing Forbidden Zone novelized in a book form, as opposed to what you originally intended with the film back in the day.
Before Josh and I were friends, I was a fan of his writing. He was an editor and top reviewer for Dread Central. So I was already a fan. I mean, the guy's a pro as a writer, knows what he's doing. So I had complete faith in him. I told him, don't worry about having every little, if the guy gets up from the chair and walks to the door, whatever. Yeah. Just have fun with it, go crazy. And he does a great job.
Yeah. He does inject his, and what I like a lot of authors to do with novelizations, they do, and if they can inject themselves and their, kind of their vibes and their style into the story, and really, try to make it as much of their book as a tribute to the film. I think when that gels together, I think you got something very special.
I gave him carte blanche. I mean, the guy's got talent. He knows what he's doing. Josh is a great writer.
Yeah, I'm so happy with how it turned out, and we'll have plenty with your signature and Josh's signature on there. I'm very excited to be a part of that. So it should be very, very good.
November 25th. People in Los Angeles or near Los Angeles, for those that might fly in, swim across the border. However you get there, it's okay.
Get there. It's going to be good.
Yeah, we welcome you. We'll see you there.
Mark, did you have any questions about the Forbidden Zone novelization or anything like that, or anything else?
People would actually be interested to hear a bit about the process, because you and Josh worked pretty closely together on that, right? It wasn't like you said, there was the foundation of your pre-existing relationship, and you were really involved in it. It wasn't just okay, go, and I approve whatever. You were very hands-on, right?
Yes and no. It's he knew the film backwards and forwards, and I just said, "Go have fun." I mean, I've got my scotch. He's very open about his enjoyment of marijuana.
Yes, absolutely.
No secret. Yeah. I said, Josh, get stoned, have a fever dream, and it'll come out right. And he does a great job. But no, I didn't micromanage him. Didn't need to. The guy's too talented.
Yeah, no, exactly. But there were I was privy to some back and forth sessions where you would read drafts and you weren't giving notes, but you were sort of, as the David Lynch to this Eraserhead, you were perhaps shedding light on certain portions and what those might mean in a literary sense.
Yeah, we shed our eraser headlight in a literary sense. Very true.
There it is. That's the quote of the episode.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I do love the fact, you know, as with Schlimazel and Forbidden Zone, and with the other things you're working on, like you said, with, you know, taking a script, which is a very different form of kind of getting a story down, and being able to, you know, add in, you know, motivations, internal dialogues, internal motivations, really enriches a story, and that's something you can't necessarily do. I mean, it's a different way of doing it in film, and
yeah, I found it very refreshing to have that.
Yeah,
you know, I could go as deep in the head as I want.
Mm-hmm. Did you find that to be like more freeing as you were, as opposed to sitting down? Oh, I'm gonna write a script. You know, here's all this, and you have internal motivations. You can put that in there,
much more freeing, because with the script, I'm always thinking about the budget, how to shoot it, all of those factors. With a novel, you just write.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever comes out of the feverish elfo brain, you just write.
And I think it's good because people get to they get to enjoy your prose, which is very, very funny. And it made me wonder if, you know, perhaps there's stuff on the page of your screenplays, scene direction, action descriptions, what have you, that are, you know, equally hilarious, but people don't get to see that because you know, they're watching the movie.
Well, not scripts that I'm doing for myself, but scripts that I'm submitting. You know, after I have the script, I'll take another pass for, call it, readability. Things that are never going to be seen on the screen, but, you know, going with some like left brain type that's just business whatever to make it an entertaining read. So, you know, that is a factor, you know, in terms of the salability of a project.
Certainly. And I think that's part of the fun of, you know, getting to read your prose is you write for that. You know, every sentence is its own sort of delight. It's really,
thank you. Well, I was a columnist for 30 years, you know, so
so you know what you put in the 10,000 hours.
Yeah, I put in my hours. But I love to write. I love to write.
Do you happen to have an example, say, like from when Schlimazel was a script form and then translating it into novel form? Do you have an example of, say, a character motivation or something that jumps out as like, it was this way on the script, but you were able to expand it more, you know?
No, just going back, I never finished it as a script.
Okay.
I started as a script and I said, no, let's do a novel. Dream Girl and Trio are scripts that were novelizing, but that was a little different. But Schlimazel, I started writing a screenplay and said, screw it, let's just write a novel.
Okay, because you were already just like, this would just be better as a novel. There's just so much going on.
Boy, does he give it to those town folks.
Yes, he does.
Read the book and you'll find out what he means.
When he reveals for the first time with the inn, where he goes, and shows the fangs, and he goes, boo, the Jew. And they all knew it anyway. And the peasants are like diving out through windows. And then Ludmilla is going, do all Jewish men grow the fangs when they approach manhood? No, honey. It's not all of them.
Anyway. This is what I'm saying. Every page made me laugh out loud.
Yeah. And what I love is you were able to provide a little, you know, because there's use of Yiddish words in there, and you were able to provide little at the end of each chapter. I was trying to get them onto the page with the footnotes, but it was kind of screwing some formatting up. So at the end of each chapter, you'll get a little lesson on, you know, what some of these words mean, which was it just adds another element to it, especially the setting, you know, it being in Ukraine. And was there anything specifically that really kind of ties you into like why you wanted to bring that kind of time period and culture into the story? Was it a direct reaction or directly because of like Fiddler on the Roof, or was there anything else? what kind of
it's,
brought that?
I'm kind of an amateur musicologist. And one of the things that gave Forbidden Zone its legs, so to speak, it's more popular now after 43 years than when it came out, is it has memorable music. And here's how I define serviceable music. Chicago was a great play, a great film, but by the time you leave the theater and get to your car, you can't remember the tunes other than maybe All That Jazz or something, because the music is serviceable. It services the vehicle, but it's not memorable. Fiddler on the Roof had memorable music. Wizard of Oz, memorable music. West Side Story, memorable music. You take it for life. And Danny Elfman ain't bad for the pieces between the 12 musical numbers.
You could do worse.
So, so I was actually listening to Tarafta Hayduk, a lot of the gypsy music that the gypsies tracked along with the Jews for a couple centuries in Eastern and Central Europe. And a lot of the melodic lines are the same one to the other. One is speaking Yiddish, the other, believe it or not, the gypsies speak Sanskrit. They left India, Rajasthan in the 11th century. So I think I was listening to Tarafta Hayduk, to some of the gypsy music. And then I had my third scotch, second cigar, and then wrote the novel.
There we go.
There we go.
Oh man, I would literally be dead after 2 cigars and 3 scotches. It's amazing.
But
well, it is a fantastic. The book's fantastic. It's so much fun. Really, to me, you know, with everything that I've read, it's very cinematic. You can just really see every scene as you're reading it in your head. It's a nice quick read, and you know, I just think it is something really special about it, and I'm glad. I'm really hoping people kind of latch onto it like we did, because yeah, like Mark said, I haven't had that much fun with the book, you know, when I was reading it in a while, and it's just it's clever. It's doesn't skimp out on anything. Like I said, it's Richard Elfman-y. It's you know, what genre is it? It's Richard Elfman-y. That's all I can tell you. If you're familiar with this word.
Zombies in it.
Yeah, I mean, I know what I was to say. It has everything: vampires. It has beautiful women. The undead. I mean,
the hot new adjective.
And the rat, but we'll tell you about that one later.
And the rat.
We'll say that as a surprise.
Absolutely. I mean, you can grab it from us over.
Rabbi. The Teenage Mutant Ninja Rabbi.
That's the spinoff.
Yeah,
it is. It is. I mean, I immediately was like imagining him as Splinter, but not from the new Ninja Turtle stuff, from the original film, like not the cartoon, but the 80, like what was it, 88 or something, the film of that.
That was
Splinter, the rat.
I gotta say, there's a little bit of inspiration there.
Well, it's there. It's great.
Thank God.
We have a few minutes left here, but I'm gonna put the website back on the screen, so you can go right down there at the bottom, EncycloPocalypse.com. You can grab the book there. Schlimazel of Sebreim is available everywhere that sells books: Barnes and Noble, Amazon. Go to your local bookstore and demand it. They can get it in there. Bookshop.org has it, so it's available. You can grab it anywhere that you can grab your books. But I did want to close out.
Come to Dark Delicacies in Burbank, Saturday, November 25th. Hear me read a little bit, and I'll be there with Josh Milliken, him and me, signing Forbidden Zone, the novelization, and the Schlimazel of Sebreim.
Absolutely. But it wouldn't be a Richard Elfman show if we didn't talk a little more about food. And you know, when Josh and I talked about this last time, but it's, you know, when you were you know, cooking for us in your beautiful home, and I was shocked. I didn't realize you were going to be actually working with the coals the way you were. I mean, putting the meat right on the coals and everything. And I wanted to just talk. What's your experience with that primitive fire cooking? What draws you to that? because that's a whole other level of cooking. I'll slap some steaks on a grill, but I mean, this is like next level stuff.
I don't know. I think I've got a lot of Neanderthal DNA. But
simple answer. I mean, we covered the amazing chef skills. We've covered the amazing musical skills, the writing skills, raconteur. There's no one quite like Richard. I just want to know. Proof is in the pudding. We also now I've completely lost where I was going. I just want to know. Oh yeah, no, that was it. We also, have cemented very, very, I think, great advice for any struggling writers out there. Grab your scotch, grab your favorite, strain. Do what it takes to get yourself into a different state.
Start by reading the classics. Start by reading the classics, so you get a sense of story structure. And everything else, but you've got a little foundation.
Yeah, foundation is important. The one I always point to is
this is my mother, the English teacher in heaven. I'm channeling her right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
Read the classics.
Always read the classics. I mean, Wes Craven knew that. That's why The Last House on the Left is a rape revenge horror remake of a Bergman film. Always study the classics.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think the last thing I want to know is, what are you reading? What are you watching these days, Richard? Yeah. What would you recommend?
God, Anastasia, what are we watching? We like supernatural horror.
Yes.
I'm watching a lot of animation because I'm writing that stuff. What have we watched? Like late night British mysteries? Yeah, What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, yeah.
Endeavor.
Yes.
Endeavor's a great British show. Oh, White Lotus.
White Lotus.
Yeah.
White Lotus is great. Oh my God.
Yeah. And then
awesome.
we like horror films. Believe it or not, Anastasia grew up with silent films. Her birthday, April 1st, is the same as Lon Chaney Sr. And so she and my daughter, who's turning 16, have been watching Lon Chaney silent classics. Classic. Yeah. And we actually went to his gravesite on Anastasia's birthday this year.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
That's a hell of a birthday celebration.
I mean, another thing I tell filmmakers is watch the classics, because not all of them do these days. Watch the classics.
Right. And they think the classics are anything made from 1980 on.
Exactly.
Right.
Go back a little bit further. I'd say bring up the website one more time.
We got BloodyBridget.com. Go there.
And look for Richard Elfman, Anastasia Elfman, Dahlia Dumont on Facebook, Instagram. We're there.
Check out the tour. Go see Bloody Bridget.
Yeah, come to Darkdale. All that information will be in the text below the video or below the podcast you're listening to. All the links, all the information. Click the links if there's anything you're interested in, and buy some books. Go see some Richard Elfman movies. You will not be disappointed.
And for $10,000, Anastasia and I will come home with you and read and act out the book.
There you go. That sounds like a deal.
That's a steal. Are you kidding me?
It's a steal, everybody.
I can't imagine you won't have any takers. Thank you, Richard.
Man, that's
Thank
great.
you for your time. Thank you.
EncycloPod!
And thank you all for watching and listening. We will talk to all of you next time. Hopefully me and Mark can just we'll sit down and shoot the shit. That'd be good to give everyone a little history of the publisher. And one of these days our schedules will
absolutely help.
Our schedule will crash together. Richard, thank you so much, good sir, and everyone, we'll talk to you next time. Thank you.
Bye-bye.